And he's just one of those guys that is successful at whatever he does. He ran a very successful mortgage brokerage, very successful IFA. He's someone that when he sees an idea and he knows that there's merit in it, he just goes and does it. He's a doer. And because of that, he commits himself and he's successful at what he does. He's no special powers. I don't think so. You don't wear your underpants on the outside, no? Do you wear your underpants on the outside?
No, not
not tonight, thank goodness. He's just a doer, but he's going to share some fantastic information, share his journey, and basically, along with his business partner Mesud, they're going to show you how they make at least a minimum of £50,000 by a single piece of paper. I'm very excited about this. Anyone else excited about that? It's gone up from 3 to 4. We've got about 8 people, so hopefully by the end of 15 minutes we might have the whole room. So, Watford, would you give a warm welcome to Ponsford and Mesud?
Oh, thank you. That was a very nice introduction. Much obliged. Thank you. Anyway, in the next 40 to 50 minutes, we are going to show you how we're making between £40,000 and £50,000 on every deal using instalment contracts. We're going to show you how we're doing that without the need of a deposit, without the need of a mortgage.
We don't need you, Simon.
You don't need to run any credit checks, you don't need to find any tenants, you don't need to pay any voids or repairs, you don't need to pay for maintenance, and you can do all of this without any experience whatsoever. So, without further ado, my name is Doug Ponsford, and I've been around property for around about 30 years. In fact, I bought my first property back in 1975. And as Simon mentioned, in the late 80s I set up a IFA mortgage broking practice, and I became what was known as a creative mortgage broker, using creative financing strategies. And that enabled me to build my own property portfolio using none of my own money. I prefer to use the bank's money rather than my own. Using that strategy, of course, enabled me to buy more properties because I didn't run out of money having to find deposits. So over the years I've built a multi-million-pound portfolio which I manage myself today, and that generates an annual income of well into 6 figures. That's a net annual income. You remember in 2007, 2008 we had a problem with the banking system. There was a bit of a crisis and the banks stopped lending us money. So we needed to find a new strategy. Thankfully, the SIP came along at that time. So we started using instalment contracts. And instalment contracts have enabled me to massively grow my portfolio, and we're now making between £40,000 and £50,000 per transaction, and we've completed on over 40 transactions in the last 3 years. Could I introduce you to Mesud Sali, my friend and business partner?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who haven't heard from me before, I'm Mesud Sali. Me and Doug met in good old days, 2009. I actually met Simon back then. I just remember for how long we haven't been seeing each other. Right, I came on 29th of August 2005 in this country. I came as a student at the Richmond American University. I was accepted with nice scholarship. I was a very good student in my country, so I got very good results and came to the UK. I came at £825, and next day I had to pay for another £800 towards Richmond American University's maintenance fees. So next day I left with my pocket £25. So what do when you are new in the country, don't have any friends, don't know anyone, and have got £25 left? Well, I decided to make it happen. I decided I am going to be very successful in this country. So since then, I have done everything possible to move myself forward, develop myself, and develop businesses. 2008, I started subletting the rooms of a house I used to manage in Twickenham. So I realized the power of property because I was making enough money just from subletting rooms, and that was enough to support through university life. 2009 I graduated, and I said, well, I'm not going to work anymore. I'm going to find fortune in property. So I started attending property courses. I started attending networking meetings like these, great events like you're attending, and started meeting great people. I met Doug, I met Rena, and I met other people who were very successful in the property arena, and decided to start working with them. So since 2009, I've been working with Doug, and we have come quite far forward in terms of with our business, in terms of with our success. So today, we're going to share that.
Thank you, Mesud. So let's have a look at an overview of the evening. First of all, we're going to look at what is an instalment contract, and then we're going to look at how you can make massive profits from every deal. And then we're going to show some real-life examples, and what we're going to do is we're going to keep repeating those examples so that you can understand. The first one you'll think you didn't quite get that, but by the second and third one you might start to understand how we're achieving what we're achieving. So it's about repetition. Best way to learn is repetition, repetition. And then we're going to show you how we're buying and controlling property using a single document. And then we have an offer that we're going to bring to you, if you don't mind, at the end of the evening, to give you an opportunity, if you want to, is to come along and join us for 2 days so we can unload everything that we know and share with you so that you can do what we're doing, and we're going to give you everything that will enable you to do that. And we're going to share that with you at the end of the evening before we close. So, without further ado, Mesud, what is an instalment contract?
It is not an option, Doug.
So, it's not an option. What is it?
It's just a standard conveyance where you exchange contract, put a payment schedule together for the buyer, and complete over a period of time. Some people call it delayed completion. Some people call it exchange and delayed completion, or long stops, etc. Well, we call it an installment contract. It's by far the most profitable strategy in today's market, because you're able to charge upfront for the property, you are able to charge monthly cash flow that is far greater than what you would get from your rent, and you can have generous back-end profits. The difference between how much you agree to pay the seller or their mortgage, and the difference between how much the buyer owes you on completion. Very simple. It presents more opportunities than the standard buy-to-let. You can do it very flexible though. You can choose to receive your profit upfront as a cash flow or as large back-end profits. So it's a truly unique money-making strategy, and it's by far the most profitable strategy. Well, I already told you about the deposit, the cash flow, and the back-end.
We made a big statement there saying that it is the most profitable strategy in today's market. And in fact, we have some experts in the audience this evening, experts on options and HMOs. And we make a statement by saying that our strategy is more profitable than both of those strategies put together. The reason for that is because we remove all of the costs that a landlord has to install a tenant into a property. And we're going to show you that in a moment. We have no voids, we have no repairs, we have no maintenance costs. So, how are we making massive profits in every deal? We're going to talk to you about babysitting.
What is babysitting though?
Well, it's nothing to do with babies. Basically, it's a property that somebody owns that they no longer wish to own. The property is giving them some pain and they wish to move away from that pain. So what we do is we offer to babysit the property for them, and we also offer to babysit their mortgage payments for them. We don't take over the mortgage, we simply babysit. Once we've agreed to babysit a property, it then allows the owner of that property to move away from the pain, get on with their life, do what they want to do, and then that gives us the ability, around a legal document, to move the property on to a buyer on an instalment contract. So we've acquired this property from a gentleman by the name of Glenn in Station Road. There wasn't much equity left in the property. All he wanted to do was move away from the property, move in with his girlfriend, save some money for a deposit to buy a house together. He tried to sell this house for over a year, and all he was offered was silly prices, which he couldn't accept because it was lower than the outstanding mortgage. So we took the property on, and within an hour and a half, we put it on the market. So, can you tell us about the story? What does that say on there?
Well, one bedroom flat, no mortgage needed, £5,000 mortgage in, 597 per month, flat is yours. Newington.
Call Vicky. Who's Vicky? That's for
Vicky.
So, tell us some numbers on this property.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this property was worth probably £70,000 to £75,000 if you're very lucky. We put it on the market for £89995. It was on the market already with an estate agent for £92,000, but for the last 18 months it didn't sell. This estate agent was a friend of ours. We kept talking to him about this creative way of doing deals, and he approached us and said, well, can you do something on this? When we dug into the numbers, this property had nearly £83,000 mortgage, and clearly it was in negative equity, and they were trying to sell it well above the market value just to cover the selling costs and obviously settle the mortgage. And he had the seller also had a redemption penalty because his mortgage was quite new, and he had about £4,000 or £5,000 redemption penalty.
Could you explain how we get 19,000 up front?
Well, a lady called Tina called us, and she said, well, I like the look of your flat. I've been just walking in front of the house because it was very close to the local station road. So she said, well, I just got rid of my husband and I've got a little bit of money left, so can I buy this flat? I said, Tina, when would you like to see it? She said, well, I'd like to see it in the afternoon. I said, Tina, would you mind coming to our office for financial assessment so we can check out whether you've got enough deposit and you have the means to pay the monthly payments, and then we can move you in. She came in and she said, well, I know you're advertising for 5, but I've got £19,000 deposit, can I put that down? I said, Tina, okay, yes you can.
How many tenants do you have to pay your 19,000 deposit?
Can you get 19 grand option?
No, I don't think so.
So,
Let's crack on.
cash off, it's only £40. Because you put a very large deposit down, we had to use all the monthly cash flow we get from this property towards repaying the negative equity there. So we actually kept £19,000 in our bank account, and we didn't use that to pay the negative equity down. But what we did is agreed to pay all the cash flow we received from this property to reduce the existing negative equity loan down. And we also put a £6,000 early redemption penalty. If she was to cash out early, well, within 7 years, anytime within 7 years, she had to pay £6,000 early redemption. That is added to the amount she owes. So £89,000, £89,995 minus £19,000, that's the amount she owed us. But after 8 months, she decided to cash out. She decided that she could get a mortgage and she wanted to get out of the deal. And we said, okay, Tina, but you remember you have £6,000 early redemption penalty? She said, okay, well, I'm prepared to pay it, no problem, I will pay.
So how much we make on this deal?
£19,400.
In 8 months?
Yeah,
And how many tenants did we move into this property?
No?
How much did we spend on repairs and maintenance?
Well, I just repaired with the signs a little bit. The property wasn't looking bright enough.
So this is a babysit. We're going to show you a couple more babysits to give you an idea of how they work. Basically, you can pick these properties up for zero cost. You don't need to move a tenant in on an instalment contract, so therefore you don't have tenants cost either. You don't have to fix the boiler. This property was owned to a...
Sorry, excuse me, Mesud, would you mind just moving to the left a bit? Could you stand right in the
sorry.
so I can't see the figures and stuff. Okay, sorry about that.
If you want to write down your questions, we're going to take questions at the end as well, if you'd like to do that. So this property was owned by a gentleman by the name of Bob, who was in arrears by only £1,800. GE Money were just about to repossess him. We spoke to Bob on Wednesday. On Thursday, the bailiffs were moving in to repossess the property for £1,800. And he was packing his boxes to move in with his sister. So we said, Bob, why don't we pay your arrears for you, allow you some time to move, to pack your boxes, move across to your sister's house. We'll babysit the property for you, we'll babysit your mortgage for you, and what we do is we'll pay off GE Money so that you no longer have that debt and the worry of the property. So he agreed with that. So we're now babysitting the property under a single document, which is a legal document, and Mesud went off and found some people from Dagenham.
Well, actually, we found on Rightmove. We put the property straight away on Rightmove. We agreed with Bob. He came into the office. We agreed, okay, Bob, we're going to take the property on, and he had pictures at the time. So we took quick pictures, put it on Rightmove, and in basically about 6 hours, we had a phone call from a very keen lady who said, well, is it true that we can buy a house with £7,000 deposit? I said, yeah, yes, of course. Have you got £7,000? Yes, we do. Well, do you work? Yes, we do. Well, what is your combined income? Well, £3,200. I said, well, how quickly can you get into our offices? So, well, I need to talk to my husband, but I think I can get there about 6 o'clock this afternoon. I said, well, okay then, your appointment is booked. Our address is 11 Milton Road, Gravesend. Please come. So we met them 6 o'clock in the office, went through their papers. They were self-employed family, both social care workers. They were earning a good amount of money, but they were new in the country. They've been in the country about 4.5 years. African family from Tanzania. They had a good job, but they couldn't buy a house the traditional way. So they love the fact that they could move it. It's £7,000 deposit and monthly payments only £805. They just love that. They were so happy that they were getting a 3-bedroom house because they had 2 children, and obviously they were living in a 2-bedroom apartment in Dagenham that was costing about the same amount of money, but they were living in a small place, and they love the fact that they can buy a bigger house, 1 bedroom for each kids, and they can move in. Doug took them around, told us the property, and started showing the property.
Well, I think what sold the property was that before we went in there, I was there to show them around. Bob was still living in the property, so he was going to show them around. And